The name Karaglukh comes from the mountainous location of the village. A number of authors refer to this area, including topographers Sarkisas Angelalians and Makar Barhudaryans. According to the 17th-18th centuries, the village was mentioned under the name Karaglukh in the middle of the 19th century, and during the years of Soviet Union Dashbashi, which is a translation of the name Karaglukh. Once the settlement was also known as Aravuz because the inhabitants of the village of the same name Sinyat settled there. In the past it was also called Aravuz, Shikakar, and was renamed Karaglukh. Shikakar was the fortress of Prince Sahel Smbatian Aranshaik, who stubbornly fought against the Arabs, Persians, and the troops of the conqueror Babek, who became a scourge for Armenia in the 20s of the 9th century, which he captured and handed over to the Arabs in 837. It should be emphasized that Karaglukh carried out his historical mission until 1920s, heroically resisting the Turkish Ottoman invaders. The epitaph in the southwestern cemetery of the village is a heroic narrative dedicated to an Armenian young man who fought against the invaders, which says, "Happy is the one who died in the name of love for the motherland." This is the grave of Haratyom Movsisyan Grigoryan's. Bright memory to him. Why during the Turkish war, on the day of the capture of the village, without saving his young life, died a hero's death, becoming a victim of a Turkish bullet in front of two Khachkars on September 23, 1918, at the age of 25 years. The village was abandoned in the 20s of the 20th century. The settlement Karaglukh is considered to be one of the most strategically and historically significant settlements along the Armenian East, where mankind has lived and survived since 31 millennium BC, part of which is evidenced by the pottery found there. The area is rich in archaeological, historical, and natural monuments, including the medieval fortress, which controlled even the surrounding remote areas. It played an important role in the battles against the Lesghan Turks and other invaders and was one of the famous Sakhnaks, Karaglukh Sakhnakh in this region. The role and significance of the fortress both in 1918-19 and in the 1990s is indisputable. The Sorposvatsatin church served as a warehouse during the Soviet years. The roof of the church collapsed completely and the staff cleared the southern side of the entrance of vegetation. The Asvatsatin church of the village of Karaglukh is briefly mentioned in the works of Makar Barhudaryans. The style of the building dates back to the 19th century. The monument is rectangular. It was built of local whitish stone and lime. Due to the sloping terrain, which is therefore impractical from the west, the only entrance, made of rather large cut stones, is relatively accessible from the south. The church has 3 small windows, 2 from the east and 1 from the south. The covering is wooden. Based on the chronological characteristics of the surrounding monuments and a detailed study of the surroundings, we find that it was built on the site of a former church. It is written on the Khachkar attached to the wall. I, Simbat, rate this cross of my beloved wife Antegan. The cross of salvation can be found to the left of the entrance. Unfortunately, at the cemetery of the Karaglukh village of the Askran region, one of them has been preserved in broken form. 2 Khachkars, which with their decorative sculptures are considered one of the best Khachkars in Artsakh. One of the grey flint Khachkars is one of the best and unique examples of an Armenian sculptural Khachkar of the 13th century. Here, in the expressions of the master, the trace of classical sculpture, the great skill of the Armenian stone art is obvious. The height of Khachkar is 2.5 kilometers, the width is 0.82, and the thickness is 19.20 centimeters. The entire surface of the cornice is covered with an ornament of yarn with plant motifs.
Շրջագայելով Քարագլուխ գյուղի տարածքի հուշարձանների ուսումնասիրության կապված մենք ականատես եղանք մի բավականին 150-ի վրա, 100 մոտավորապես մասի վրա մի գերեզմանատան, որտեղ կան խաչքարեր, որոնք վերաբերում են փաստորեն 11-13-րդ դարին։ Բայց բանը նրանում է, որ այստեղ հետաքրքիր այն է, որ զարմանալի մի քիչ այն է, որ այստեղ կային ի հայտ եկավ մի տապանակար, որը վերաբերում է ավելի ուշ ժամանակաշրջանի, այսինքն Բոժոդե թվականին, այսինքն 1565 թվականին։ Ինչա գրված։ Այս է հանգիստ Տեր Գոհնանին, այսինքն Հովնանին, թվականին Ռեժեդը։ Տարզա ինչ է ստացվում, որովհետև այս դասույթ է տալիս, որ այս գյուղում որ այսօր կա այդ եկեղեցին, որ աստորեն վերակառուցված է, վերաշինված է, էլի, որտեղ այնտեղ կան նաև 15 տարի խաչքարեր եւ այլն, եւ աստորեն ցույց է տալիս նաև որ այս եկեղեցուն հոգեոր առաջնորդը մասնավորապես Սնարում, այսինքն 1960 թվականին եղել է Հովնան։
Particularly noteworthy is the lower part of the monument, where a tray is presented as well as images of a woman and a man, as if it were a scene of a meeting with a man who returned with another victory. A woman meets a man with a tray, who takes fruit, probably an apple, with his left hand and a glass of wine with his right. Thus, in fact, the circle, symbolizing the longevity of life, is expressed here the image of everyday motifs, which is not uncommon in Khachen. By the way, the khachkars with human images were first discovered in Khachen, in that part of Armenia where sculpture decoration was generally preferred, where on the walls of monasteries along with the usual ritual groups there are rather large sculptures. In this sense, khachkars contain important material for studying everyday life, costumes, and some details of everyday life. A slightly broken address has been preserved on the khachkar. This was written before the khachkar was placed on the pedestal, so half of the fifth line continued to enter the pit of the pedestal. Above the inscription on the side of the sculptures of a woman and a man, there are small crosses, and on the side of the khachkar, on the right, below there are spoiled four-line inscriptions that have survived through the eyes of researchers. There are only few Armenian letters. The second khachkar is notable for its mastery of the execution. It adjoins the first with the decorative motifs and is embroidered with a numbered lettering engraved on the back. A 16-line memoir reads as follows. In 1253, during Hassan's reign, I, Sanbat, raised his cross on the name of priest as land and tomb for myself and my wife Kada. May Christ protect our sons. Amen. The village was finally abandoned in the 1980s. On March 24, 2022, Azerbaijan, violating the November 9 agreement, resorted to military provocations and occupied Karaglukh.